Welcome to the Indian Gaming Association's The New Normal webcast. My name is Lisa Johnson. I'm the conference manager for the Indian Gaming Tradeshow and Convention. I would like to share a few housekeeping tips before we get started. Everyone is muted by default except for our speakers. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question or chat box and they will be brought up at the end. Now, without further ado, I would like to introduce Victor Rocha, conference chairman of the Indian Gaming Association.
Good afternoon, good morning. My name is Victor Rocha. Sorry about that. Welcome to The New Normal, the Indian Gaming Association's podcast, where we bring you the latest news, insights, and trends in the tribal gaming industry. I'm your host, Victor Rocha, IGA Conference Chairman. I'm joined by my co-host, Jason Giles, IGA Executive Director. Today, we'll be discussing the recent Indian Gaming Association and convention held in sunny San Diego, or partially sunny San Diego, which exceeded all expectations and was a resounding success on all levels. So, gentlemen, welcome. Let me introduce our hosts. Before we dive into our topics, let me introduce you our guests. We have Chairman Stevens. As you know, he's not up on the screen right now, but he's over at Res in Las Vegas, which is another trade show that joined us right after started right the week after our show. So Chairman Stevens has come in. We have the Indian Gaming Association Vice Chairman David Z. Bean. Welcome, Mr. Vice Chairman. We'll just call you David. The show director, Brian Sullivan, and Ed Gallo, the Director of Sales and Attendee Programs. So sit back, relax, and join us as an exciting episode of The New Normal, or as we watch Chairman Stevens run through the halls trying to get to his setup, which is my favorite. Listen, we like a little action with our podcast. Most of them are static and stayed, not ours. We have the chairman running through the convention center, which I think brings back a lot of feelings like OJ in the 70s, maybe, you know, so guys, how's it going?
Excellent. How you doing?
Doing well. Thank you for having us.
So, you know what? Let's let the chairman get settled in. But Jason, how are you doing, my friend?
We're doing excellent. It was a long, hard week, but it went pretty smooth. And I want to thank everyone for jumping on this call today. And we'll give you a brief recap here and hopefully take any suggestions, comments folks have for making it better in Anaheim next year.
Yeah. Well, you know, Jason, one of the things that's really unique about our conference is, it's not just about tribal gaming. There's a lot of tribal governance going on. That's where, tribal leaders get to meet and discuss the issues and share stories. And then, we had the tribal elections for Indian Gaming Association, and Chairman Stevens is the undefeated champion. He's I don't know. This is his 20. I'm going to screw up on this.
Second, 22nd.
22nd. Yeah, I was going to say 22nd, 24th. And Vice Chairman Bean. So, before we jump into the business, how did that go too? We never talk about the tribal aspect of what we do, but for me, that's one of the most important things that we do besides the business of tribal gaming. How did that go?
You talking to me or Vice Chairman Bean?
Vice Chairman Bean.
Oh, yeah.
I think it went incredibly well. I got to visit with a lot of tribal leaders who were there, networking and just talking about, what gaming does for their communities. And I always love hearing those stories, how they're building their tribal economies, sending their kids to school, building houses for the communities. That's what Indian gaming is all about. And that's what I heard from a lot of tribal leaders.
Yeah, I agree. And, again, that's what makes our conference so unique, because it isn't just about slot machines and table games. It's about tribal governance and, the legalities and the future of what Indian country is about. So, it's always so special to create as a team this really special event. And the fact that we can do that, San Diego was really nice. Brian, what'd you think about that weather?
Chilly. it was, I'm from Connecticut. It was warmer in Connecticut than it was in San Diego. So it's kind of unusual, but that actually helps set the stage. You know,
Right.
we don't mind a little bit of rain because once people get in the morning, if it starts to rain, they tend to stay inside the convention center. So
Mhm.
that's kind of can be a plus.
Well, you know, it was half and half on Monday and Tuesday. It was sunny. On the day of the education sessions, and for those of you who were there, was really amazing. You know, what I love about that space is that hallway and doing the shows and having that big long hallway with that glass showcasing San Diego and that morning sun coming in and just warming everybody up. And there really is no better place to network and to see everybody in one place. You just walk back and forth and everybody you know in the industry is right there. And it was really amazing. But then again, when the trade show opened, it started to rain. But by then we were all on the trade show floor doing business, making deals. So I don't think anybody really noticed. I did have to leave at once and I did go outside and it was raining pretty bad. So, you know, for us Californians, we've had a very wet winter, but you know, we love it. It's what we needed. So, Brian, let's talk a little bit about the attendance. You know, what did you see? I think it's been a big question for everyone. You know, for me, it felt like one of the best shows we ever had. You know, the trade show floor was massive. When I walked out to the floor, I couldn't believe the size of it. You know, I had seen, you know, the floor plot before the show opened, but I think nothing really prepares you for the size of a packed trade show floor.
You're absolutely right, Victor. And I recall when you walked onto the floor because you called me and you said, "Holy cow, the floor is massive," and it is massive. We're going out to the walls on it. We're actually talking about having to get more space than usual. There in the past there was a number of different lounges that were on there. Now we're down to just two major lounges: the Chairman's Lounge and the Tribal Leaders Lounge. That has content on it, so it's such a draw. It was so good. Registrations were up, the show size was up, hotels were up. You know, that's another kind of challenge that we have is, you know, some people at the end are going, "I can't find a hotel room." Well, sorry, you know, we book a certain amount of rooms and then they start to go, and it's hard to get in. So we always encourage people to sign up early for everything. As an example, and I don't want to step on Ed's toes here, but almost 60%, over 60% of the show floor is sold for next year.
Wow. So Ed, how was your show? I mean, that trade show was just, everybody, this is Ed Gallo. He is our, what's your title again, Ed?
Just call me sales director and I also help with attendee programs to try to bring in more attendees. And also I work with the tribes on sponsorships as well to maximize their exposure at the show, plus make sure we're bringing more of their folks top to bottom to the show. In my perspective, it was fantastic. It's been, you know, the pitch has been along. We haven't, if you're going to try our show to the new companies, this is the year to try it. We haven't been to our home, which is San Diego, since 2019. I knew this show would be gangbusters. We all did. It had a different feel than the past couple of years. Obviously, we had some challenges. But all in all, I think IGA has done well through COVID, and we've had big show floors and bringing in new products and companies, especially the Europeans coming over. They were handcuffed during COVID where they couldn't come, but they came back this year. Did not get, you know, we get a lot of complaints all the time, just your basic stuff. I'm missing a table, I'm missing my carpet, I need electric, blah, blah, blah. But this year it was wonderful to see people. You couldn't talk to people sometimes, just shake their hands to say hello because they were doing business. So it was kind of a little wave to someone, they catch you out of the corner of their eye. But, you know, and again, like Brian said, our rebook is up, you know, 63% we've rebooked to date, which is always strong on this event. We have our loyal customers that come back year after year. And we're seeing the new companies translate into 2 and 3 years now, which is that's how we're going to grow. That's how we're going to, you know, get to be one of the, you know, we are the biggest Indian gaming trade show, I believe, on the planet. And to compete with some of our competitors, you know, we're going in the right direction.
You know, it felt like there was a more international audience there too. I spoke with a lot of people from Europe and from other countries, South America. It felt more international than before. You know, I was approached by a lot of people that I had never met before too. So that was pretty amazing. Now, you know, one of the main things that Ed, what you're talking about is, you know, a big part of our business is not just, you know, putting on these trade shows, but creating these business opportunities. And I think, you know, we've really done a great job of turning this trade show around from when I came on and Phoenix, you know, we came out of Phoenix, and that was kind of, you know, the conference. Chairman, are you getting ready? Can you hear us? It feels like performance art, you know. I think, well, anyhow, when he's ready, he can jump on in. But, you know, it just, I think from a business perspective, like I said, you know, on even on Monday with the education sessions, it was really nice to be in that long hallway with that glass. And like I said, you know, you get that morning, early afternoon sun, and it just makes the place feel special. And, you know, I forgot we hadn't been back there since 2019 because it was, it felt like we never left. But, you know, I actually had to think about that. We had Vegas and Anaheim and stuff. So it was nice to be back home. And I think that was the really big difference in having that event. Everybody loves San Diego. The gas lamp is phenomenal. I think you touched about it, Brian, earlier, which was hotel rooms. You know, that was pretty wild when, you know, you come into town and you have this type of effect where you can't even get a hotel room near the show, and they have a lot of hotels in that area. So
they do, Victor, because we do book far out. We're now booked out to 2028, and you know, you think you know what you know. It's kind of a dance that when you're booking hotel rooms and everything else with the city, the convention center, it's not an easy task. You have to qualify, and you have to, I guess, you know, how many hotel rooms and how many attendees are we going to have in 2028? Well, you know, we're kind of trying to work that kind of thing out because we don't want to go too high. We don't want to go too low on it. So there's a lot that goes into getting the dates.
Yeah. Chairman, can you hear us? Is he on mute? Are you on mute, Ernie? Yeah, we still can't hear him. Jason, you're on mute too. There you go.
Victor, let's just give a quick rundown for everyone. I mean, you know, last count, Brian, we were like, you know, 7,500 attendees, which would be a record for San Diego for us by a couple hundred folks. But more so than attendance, you know, trade show floor was up again over Anaheim. That's 6 or 7 straight years of an increasing trade show floor, which is unbelievable. And then, you know, the biggest thing is the amount of people that said they were going to show and actually did show. I thought that's going to be an all-time high for us too. You know, I don't think we're going to have too many refunds or people looking for, you know, checks back, things of that nature. People showed up at this one, and we kept their attention for 4 days. And just for everyone's benefit on this call, the executive board did take some action. You know, thank you, Chairman Bean, for supporting the bylaw changes. But part of the bylaw changes, of course, our name change. But secondly, it was to improve the trade show and improve every attendee's ability to go to the education sessions and also go to the trade show floor, also take part in our membership meeting where we have to get our policy work done for the year. We've changed the bylaws. We're going to streamline all that process, and starting next year, we should have some extra time, if you will, to let even our board members and our tribal membership attend these conference sessions, Victor, because those are always the sessions are what we get the most feedback on. You know, I know Ed will hear it from the folks on the trade show floor, but in terms of actual constructive criticism, we get the best feedback from the folks that go to these sessions and fill out the paperwork and tell us what they want to hear. And then we can make that happen for Anaheim. So Vice Chairman Bean, Any follow-up on that? We were really fortunate this year to have the participation we did, and just really hit the policy issues hard in our membership meeting and also our board meeting.
You're on mute,
Dave.
David. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jason. I was really excited about the participation of the members. It was, I've been a member since 2009, and this is probably the most dialogue I've seen amongst the member tribes that participate in the membership meeting. So I was really excited to engage in that dialogue, listen to their perspectives and get their feedbacks, but most importantly, get their participation in the bylaw change, which again, like you said, will allow the attendees to, participate in all aspects of this conference, be it educational, trade show floor. Again, just repeat what you said, and I'm really pleased with that. And we have this state of the industry, report by Chairman Stevens and yourself, Jason, and the treasurer and our auditors. And, just really excited to hear those numbers. And I don't know if that's going to be a part of this agenda, but I was really excited about listening to the economic impact report for 2022.
Yeah. And for those of us who aren't aware what we're talking about, kind of like what I said in the beginning, we run this parallel track to the trade show, which is the tribal governance part of the Indian Gaming Association. And sometimes it would keep the tribal leaders stuck inside the room, and they haven't been able to enjoy the education sessions and the trade show. We've had times where it's run into Wednesday and stuff, and with elections, and that was always being a real big issue for us, because we had to create. And for me personally, as somebody who creates content, it was a real drag having to lose my speakers, because I had to go. And some of the best speakers in Indian country are the tribal leaders, and that's where the rubber meets the road. And so I think with these new bylaws, and so we're talking about is moving the meeting right away from the trade show, and that'll give me access to more tribal leaders, so that actually will give everyone more access to the networking opportunities that we create and the business opportunities that we've created. So Chairman Stevens, are you with us now? I think you're on. No, he's not on mute. Is he on mute? I heard him. You were there for a second. Keep mashing on buttons until you make noise. That's the way I do it, man. Yeah, I wish they gave me the unmute button. I'm sorry, Ernie. We still can't hear you. That's all right. One more time, Ricky. Just when he comes in, we'll let him know. We'll just jump in where he's at. So Jason, what does this mean for the trade show?
So this is the kind of trade show we needed to show that we're back and to get back in a normal business cycle. And so this was a great jumping off point.
Can you hear me
There
now?
he is. Yeah, there we
go
got
ahead,
you.
Ernie.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, Jason. Let me just chime in. We're here at the Res Economic Summit in Vegas, and so there's thousands of folks all around here, and so we got our meetings. We met with with Jackson Brossi and his boss with the business administration, and we're just trying to get home here and get ready for the next travel. But I haven't been home. I don't remember the last time I was home. I think maybe for a day, and saw 13 inches of snow. So I don't mind getting on the road, but I'm just kind of echoing everything that's been said, and we really thank you a lot. A couple of things. One, the policy and legislative agenda. We thought that we had a tremendous success in getting that message out to the leadership. We're going to continue to do that through our dialogues and calls and stuff. We're going to continue to try to motivate our folks to understand that, it doesn't matter. We have a split Congress. We always work both sides of the aisle. So nothing really impacts us because we got friends on both sides of the aisle. We have folks that don't know and don't understand and are in opposition to us on both sides of the aisle. So we're going to keep pressing. I think we made that message clear. I was always kind of the problem, got in the way of the meetings and legislative stuff, and so now we're kind of split that up a little bit, and I think it worked. I'm not the numbers guy here, but I think that it was the best last day of the conference that I've ever seen as far as population on the trade show floor. And the reason I figure that out is, and believe me, I'm not as full as myself as I may project, but people want to talk to me. People want to stop and visit, just same as at this show. And I told my assistant, that's what my father told me, that I have to make myself available, And so when we talking with folks, that's just what we do, And so I think that was a good reflection of the success of the show. But I think the bottom line is our encouragement and our dialogue with our gaming commissioners, our tribal leaders, and our gaming professionals to know we have a job to do. And that's letting the world know that we're back, we're on our feet, we're getting people back to work, but nothing has changed from before, during, and after the pandemic. We are sovereign governments. We are governments that have gamed since time immemorial, and we are going to continue to work our way out of this thing, promote tribal government gaming, and understand and educate about tribal government gaming. And guess what? We really got to do a lot with the folks that we're working with here in Vegas this week. Create business with and beyond gaming. That's really got to be the message. So again, we're real happy about the show. Our prestigious award is now become the Sovereign Warrior Award, and that's really the blessing that we have in memorializing the late Rick Hill, the late Tim Wapato, and no better person to receive that award than Mr. John Eckelhawk. Elder man, but still working hard every single day. He's my colleague on this board. We came right from San Diego, sat through an all day long board meeting here for the National Center for Indian Economic Development. And, I saw John yesterday. So still plugging away, still doing what we do. But John Eckelhawk is not just a role model lawyer. He's a role model Indian. He's a role model person because he works, he's ethical, he gets the work done, and he don't mess around. So I'll follow John Eckelhawk into any battle. And guess what? We got a few battles that we're going to have to do. And the message is clear. Tribal government gaming, we have to stand by and defend. And that's really, I think, the message we got strong in San Diego. Sure, nice to be there. A lot of other different recognitions and honorings. We honored the Boys and Girls Club of America and Indian Country, a few of our good friends. I won't go down the list there, but I just thank all of you for the teamwork that we were able to do to create this great conference. And, looking forward to next year. And Anaheim might be a little different because we got spoiled to get back to San Diego. Everybody likes to go. I like San Diego because there's lots of Indians nearby. And I tell you, I went to a few casinos in the area in my travels there. So it's a combination of things, that having fun, enjoying, seeing your friends. But the bottom line is the work that we got done. That's real bottom line. So we thank you all for your hard work.
Well, Chairman, you've become an integral part of the show itself. We have a stage called the Chairman's Lounge, and that was quite a performance at the end when I was leaving with you and Chance. It was tag team MCs, and it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And you guys have really become a comedy duo almost, you know what I mean? But what it does is it's very sincere and funny. You guys enjoy each other, and it's become just a big part of what we do. It's so light. I can't imagine anyone else in our industry doing that and pulling it off like you do, and it's just so much fun. We
enjoy it. And Chance is a gentleman. He's a family man. He's a hardworking guy, and he's an advocate for Indian country. But I got my lessons in the old days when we were growing up on the res and at the Boys and Girls Club in Oneida, the rec center, hanging out with Rick Hill. Charlie Hill would come home for the summer, and that was hilarious. We would be at each other every day. So this Chance is just a kid compared to Charlie Hill. We used to have to go round and round with him. So it's really fun stuff, and we enjoy it. And And again, we're trying to enjoy and get our message out there and make the people feel comfortable, because a lot of folks, they only get 1 or 2 trips a year. This is it. So we want them to have a little fun in between all the hard work. So Chance is a good man, good warrior.
Well, the trade show floor is really just had so much life. Wouldn't you agree, Brian and Ed? I mean, and even Jason, it was just alive the whole time. And, we have 2 stages, and, on one stage we're doing, and which reminds me, we have the chairman's lounge where we have the chairman. The chairman gave away some awards and some recognitions. And that's always really fun, as the person who programs the content, I say, well, we're going to put Ernie over at 2 p.m. on the other stage. And I know immediately that place will be packed. And people are always going, how do you know? I was like, just trust me, it's going to be packed. You'll see. And it is, you know what I mean? But it brings so much life to the floor and changes could be we go to a lot of business conferences, and there's really nothing like our conference in the entire industry. I think the fact that I think you really humanize that floor, and it makes it real fun and stuff. Ed, so you mentioned that we're going to have that 65% of the floor is sold already, right, in Anaheim? Is that what you said? You're on mute, man. Yeah, it's all right.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. And now we start doing the, following up a lot of the renewals. Like we do a space selection for the big guys, 1,000 feet or 1,200 feet to 4,000 feet prior to the show. And then the week before the show, I do the rest of the groups. We get a good amount, and then they come to the sales booth. So when we come home, we're always around 63, 65%, which across the board of a lot of our trade shows, no one does that. They do a heck of a lot less. So our retention is very strong, and we have loyal people, So now the next few months will be getting in the rest that didn't get an opportunity to leave the show floor and renew. So that will be my next plans, and putting together the sponsorship packages to go along with that. And then I'm sure people will ask me already, when is Victor's education program ready? Because that's, again, content. The content's king, and people want to sponsor that. People want to speak. They want a little extra exposure there. So, that'll be you gotta wait. After IGA midyear is when we'll start, looking at that. November, we'll start doing the call for papers. So that'll be.
Well, yeah. You mentioned IGA midyear. Jason, you want to talk about that a little bit? Maybe we're jumping ahead. You're on mute, my friend.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, Ed, and we'll jump back to the trade show floor, and Brian, how you want to handle Anaheim next year. But our mid-year is in Foxwoods, September 12, 13, 14, Tuesday to a Thursday. So, I haven't talked with Ed or Brian yet about the logistics, but I'm sure we're going to have tables or, mini booths there for Foxwoods. And we're really going to create content around what Foxwoods has going on with their expansion, with sports betting, with everything that the Connecticut tribes have been facing on the East Coast in terms of competition. They have commercial gaming competition like no other. So I think there's a lot of valuable lessons to be learned in Connecticut, and we're really going to build our mid-year around that. And of course, have a great day of golf. We're going to try to recreate the incredible golf that we had at San Diego. So, but Brian, I got to say, and for the benefit of everyone on this call, and I'm sure Chairman will weigh in, we got some pushback on Anaheim. It's not folks' favorite place to go, but we feel like we're going to come up with some solutions, and also just remind people that last time we were there was still COVID. Disney was still basically shut down. You had to get pre-advanced tickets, pre-purchase. A lot of restaurants were still closed, if not just barely coming back. So I think you'll see a different Anaheim this time, and we got to get the word out that there's 2 airports to choose from, and keep people away from LAX. But go ahead, Brian and Ed. I think it's important, and Chairman heard those complaints too, but we're going to address them head on.
Yeah, agree, Jason. One of the major things that happened last time too, it was the week after Easter. And again, COVID pushed everything around. The event industry was literally flipped upside down. and redone. So we would normally not get the week after Easter, and the week after Easter is a holiday week. So there was a lot of parents that just couldn't make it. They were, had other plans, or, they had to be with their families. Then, so that did cut in on it. That's not the case next year, April 8 to 11. That's not the case. So we really think that that's going to help. As you mentioned, COVID is in our rearview mirror for the most part now. And we're a lot of things are changing and getting for the better. So, and with the show that would just happen in San Diego, we're hoping that we get a bounce, because it is a full week. It starts with golf. If some folks, were out on the golf course, they hope they really enjoyed meeting John Daly. That's an unusual thing for John Daly to come up and, be able to shake hands and listen to his pretty funny stories and things, the House of Blues, the IGT party that was there, sponsorships that we get from AGEM and the executive director, Darren Dorsey, all the things, you mentioned all the tribal meetings, the education, commissioner training. There is just so much going on. We're going to take that and roll it into Anaheim with a better week. So we think it's going to be much better next year than the experience was in last year.
Yeah. To piggyback on what Brian's saying too is let's it was a bad week to have a trade show. That was it. Period. We will not come across these issues next year. And keep in mind, California is our bread and butter. That's where a lot of people send the most people. So having it easy access for those folks to be able to get to Anaheim is important. And we forget, we probably had 1,000, 1,200 people less last year, but 6,500 is nothing to sneeze at, like that during a COVID year. So that you saw that the serious people came to that event. They weren't there for a boondoggle. They came there to do business. So we are really fired up for next year. While everyone, may have we all love San Diego, but like the industry needs to get together, needs to gather, needs to do business. And, it's a strategic play for next year. And then we'll be back in San Diego a year after that.
And we'll never leave again. We'll never leave again.
Oh, well, Victor, I can tell you next year is Anaheim.
Don't hurt me. Don't hurt me, Brian. Don't hurt me.
No. You know what? It's not easy to get dates anymore. There's such a competition for it. Everything comes into play. How many taxi rides or Ubers or restaurants, they add up, everything gets collective. The city looks at everything before you get in. It's San Diego's very, very popular, but next year we will be in Anaheim. The 25 and 26 will be back in San Diego. 27 will be Vegas, and 28 will be back in San Diego again. So this is how far out we're looking and taking care of business to get it in. We actually have to have a crystal ball on it. So now we're going to start talking after this at 29 and 30. It doesn't see, it seems like a long way away, but in our industry, it's not that far away because there's a lot of competition. There's 5,000 trade shows going on in the U.S. every year. They're all fighting, and San Diego is one of the top cities in the country. So the fight's even tougher in San Diego.
I remember when we did our first show in Vegas in 2021, they practically gave us the venue, remember? And then during the conference, everything shot up in price, but we were there, we were talking about deal while, everyone was still wearing masks, so we got there at the right time, but it was still very early. It was before everyone else, and and the whole industry had been turned on its ear because of conference, and then everyone's figured out it was okay to do it, and then everybody's rushing for the exit at the same time, or the entrance, I should say. Yeah. So you know what, and let me touch on it real quick on IGA mid-year. One of the things is, as soon as I got back, our show ended on Thursday, and by Sunday I had the agenda for IGA mid-year, and the whole concept is and I ran it by the chairman, which was, let's look at the industry through the eyes of Foxwoods. So the first half of the agenda, I think I have the agenda right here in front of me. Hang on one second. Oh, here it is. It's going to be called Foxwood Strong's Innovating for a Continuing Success. Talk about their strategies in dealing with an ever-changing marketplace, a crowded marketplace, how they're reinventing the casino experience, exploring new avenues for business expansion, looking at the non-gaming stuff that they're doing, the Great Wolf Lodge, the construction, some of their business stuff, technology. And the one that I'm really excited about is on Wednesday, when you guys are in meetings for the vendors and suppliers. We're going to be talking about how they their procurement process, how they talk with suppliers, what you have to do to meet their standards and stuff like that. Just really solid business strategies that you need to work for Indian country. Yes, Chairman.
I just want, just in case I got some speaker, I'm in a hotel here, so in case I get some more distraction, I'll put it back on mute. But I just want a couple quick things. First of all, everybody's on point, and when you have this much success, you do have this great a show. You know what? We always have a few of the complainers, and they're out there. And I used to let them get to me when I was younger, but they don't bother me. When I got 7,000 people happy, and I got a couple not happy, I think we did our job. So I think that's really our show was fun and productive and had a lot of work ethic. We got a lot of work done. We got our message across, and we'll do the same at Anaheim. I think just one of the highlights I wanted to mention is that the guy Vegas is his last name performed from. So it was a small show, but we got to see a little bit of his entertainment. Got to see his dad on the Zoom call. He held it up, and everybody said hello to him. But also to see my grandson, he started doing that warrior dance in memory of Tim and Rick when he was 5 years old, and now he's 11 years old. And he don't even warm up. Just made me envious because he can move those little feet, and that is the warrior dance. That's when the warriors went off to battle. That's what they did, and so I think that recognizing them was so amazing. And there's a couple other. One recognition I wanted to mention was the Danny Signs award, and Imagine This sponsored that. And also, not only did Imagine This, all these folks want to come to our show and do this and that. Imagine This came to our show, and then they made donations to nonprofits, big donations to nonprofits in memory of or in honor of their awardees. Their awardees were two grassroots, homegrown, hardworking Native leaders. One in Mille Lacs, Tracy Sam. She's a tribal member. She worked her way to GM after years of service to her community. She received the Danny Signs Award. And then Jason Kozart from Saboba. Again, he's a assistant general manager there. And again, these are two people that come from the heart of their communities, worked their way up, and now they lead. And that's the one thing I've said all along is that 30 years ago, we brought in the consultants and we needed them. We love and respect what they brought to us. But in this industry today, we are the experts, and these are true examples of that. The last thing I wanted to just mention is the Saquon Institute with Dr. Kate Spildy, Chairman Cody Martinez. Those folks came and we recognized them for their collaboration with the Red Lake Tribal College. And the Red Lake Tribal College, small classroom. And then San Diego State is giant, but together they're empowering Native education and the true understanding of Native America. And this kind of collaboration, the students coming through this and learning the true meaning of tribal government gaming, the true understanding of tribal sovereignty. This is done in our tribal colleges all across this country. But I think that San Diego State reaching.
You went on mute, Chairman. You went on mute.
Again? Okay, how's that?
Yeah,
so anyway, let me
go.
just sum that up. Is the Saquon Institute at San Diego State, led by Dr. Kate Spildy, the work they do with Chairman Martinez and his tribal council and community at Saquon, and then this new step in working with the Red Lake Tribal College. I'm a small college guy. I wouldn't even have made it through college without tribal college. So this collaboration is amazing. We honored them. A lot of different recognitions and honorees, but the bottom line for us is we got our message across. We outlined our work to do, and then we get to have a little bit of fun. San Diego is fun, but one thing is true about the Indian Gaming Association: we get our work done before we go have fun. I think that's truly reflective of this conference.
Yeah, I agree. You know what, Ed, Brian, Jason, real quick. You know, Chairman brought up something really interesting real quick, which is about the final day of the show. For me as a conference chairman, it's always the bane of my existence is that final day of the show. You know, everyone's been there for 4 days, 5 days, everyone's itching to go home, but this time there was still a lot of life left on that floor. When I hobbled away with my bad hip, it was pretty amazing, man. You
Yeah.
know,
I'll let Chairman Bean, bring up some of the highlights of that, but he touched on it earlier. Economic impact report. We're reporting $44 billion gaming revenues for 2022, a new all-time high. And then just on that day, the last day of the show, we had a very important board meeting that morning with associate members, heard their issues and suggestions, and we're taking those under advisement. And even more so, we went down to the trade show floor from 10 till 3 and heard about tax policy. We heard about AI. We heard about a lot of topics that are really going to transform this industry. Let's be honest. I mean, this chat AI is something that, your dealers, your front end people checking you in, chat AI can probably start to do all that fairly soon, I would imagine. And it's really going to transform the industry. And I don't know, I'm not smart enough to know what it's going to look like. I haven't even started using it yet myself, but I know my kids use it. And we had to tell them to stop using it for homework or whatever. It's just ridiculous and it's kind of scary, on some levels. But yeah, Chairman Bean, what were your impressions of that final day there?
Chairman Stevens had the leadership lounge and the chairman's lounge covered. So I walked around and talked to a lot of the vendors, but, I was really impressed to see still a lot of the tribal leaders and tribal staff members walking throughout the conference. And a lot of them were looking for Chairman Stevens. And I said, hey, well, if you look at the leadership lounge or the chairman's lounge, you're going to find them. But with respect to the associate members, that's who I kind of focused on. I always try to get their feedback. And first and foremost, thank them for being members, and then get some feedback from them. And all of them were happy. I didn't hear one bad comment or negative feedback. They were just pleased with the traffic, and so that's what I saw. So I think it's testimony to this entire team here. Thank each and every one of you for all your good work and putting together such a successful show. And like Chairman Stevens says, we work first, and everyone was down there grinding on that floor. And then, come Thursday evening, then it was time to hit the gas lamp, hit the casinos. But for the most part, what I saw on the floor and the feedback I got from the leadership and the vendors was, great show, great times. I think, it didn't hurt that it was raining really hard. So it kept folks indoors. So we may have had that captive audience, but that captive audience was happy. And that's, again, what I was pleased about. And the economic impact report, Jason, I was just pleased as punch with that. $44 billion. What is that, a 10-11% growth year over year, 700,000 jobs. The state of the industry is strong. The state of the association is strong. And I'm excited for that 60% rebooking already. That's just incredible. So great job to each and every one of you. Thank you.
Yeah, that was, go ahead, Chairman.
Yeah, I just want to tag on and thank Vice Chairman Bean for, we kind of split up duty. We hang out together too, but we try to kind of split our responsibility. So it's hard to move around out there. So to be able to cover a lot of those bases is really helpful when Dave was out there working it. For me, and I think everybody knows that I'm either at one of those lounges or most importantly in the membership meeting. And with our new amendments to the bylaws, I think that, we'll be able to be even on the show floor even more. And I think that's where the leadership wants us to be. And I just wanted to I talked to our board. We kind of ran together with the National Center Res 2023. And we're talking about making sure we're working harder at least keeping those dates 2-3 weeks apart. And so I think that we shouldn't have any problem doing that. Made it clear that, we're scheduled out to 28, I think. And we'll do a better job of not having to run so close together. It's ironic that we have great numbers here and great numbers in San Diego. And that's a good thing that we can pull something like that off in the new country. but sometimes, you know, Indian folks need some rest in between. So we're going to work on that as well. So, but again, I just very, very excited about being able to recognize these great programs and leadership, being able to talk directly with the tribal leaders, both on the show floor and in those membership meetings at the lounges. So, you know, we just keep moving, get ready for our mid-year, but nothing stops. The bottom line, the message is that we have work to do, and we have to, you know, make sure we're visible. And I think the leadership knows that we are counting on them to walk the halls of Washington, D.C. to help us get our message across.
According to my records, you've been on the road for 3 weeks. Is that correct? That's
Well,
very
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I lose track. Only thing I
it's 3
get to
weeks,
go
man.
to,
I didn't lose track. It's 3 weeks. You
I
know,
get to go to the airport after this call. That's my blessing.
good for you, man. Good for you. I mean, you listen, Chairman, that's why you're so special, is the fact that you can stay out there for 3 weeks, kind of like an astronaut, untethered, you know what I mean? And but that's
Hey,
what makes you
my
special.
grandchildren like me out here because they get grandmother themselves.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's amazing. And again, you know, kind of what we're talking about is that, you know, at our next show, we'll have more tribal leaders on the stage, more tribal leaders, and more the people who would be in these meetings will be on the floor and on the stage talking and stuff. So it'll be more where the rubber meets the road. So I'm excited from that, as the one who creates content and stuff like that. And, you know, we talked about some complaints and stuff like that. And I think that's common with every industry. And, you know, for me, as the one who creates the content, you know, I try to be as diplomatic as possible and give everyone a chance. But sometimes it just happens that, you know, not every, you know, when we were in Vegas, not this time during the pandemic, but before, I think we had like 110, 120 sessions. I remember that board was just massive. And so, you know, we've cut it down to, I think, 54, under 60 to that. So, you know, we've come a long way, and to try to create content that's relevant and important to our industry. And, you know, sometimes, you know, people just aren't going to be able to make it. And, you know, I apologize if that happened, and, you know, and I try to get everyone, and I'll try harder next time, but you know, no guarantees, man. No guarantees, but I'll try my hardest.
Well, we got about 10 minutes left. I mean, Ed, real quick, can you just update everyone on this call where we're at for booth selection for Anaheim next year? You know, you've done some, but yeah, what should people be doing now for getting ready for Anaheim?
I mean, listen, everyone should be reaching out to me now. We're like I said, we got 63% retention right now. So I have the show this year was nearly 100,000 square feet. So we are already about 60,000 square feet. So there's still great prime real estate left. So I would tell anybody just to reach out to me on my email or my cell and call me, and let's get you on the floor plan while there's some prime spot. This show will be just as big, if not, I think it will be bigger than this year's show, just because of how hot Indian country is. And how well we're all doing as a whole. So, you know, again, reach out to me. Happy to put together some customized sponsorships. But again, you're going to ask me for education content. It's not happening just yet. That'll happen in November. There's a process there. But more importantly, we're looking forward to mid-year. So please reach out to me at mid-year. This is a very great event for networking, education, so we can put together some customized sponsorships to help best suit your needs at this event. You may want a table, you may not want a table, but if you don't get a table, there's some great things we could do together where you're going to get just as great the exposure as having a table. So,
great.
Yeah, Victor, say, you know, I love the fact that you are the conference chairman. I think that heavily weighted in title and mostly hard work, because the work you do is amazing. And if things don't go right, I got somebody to blame. You know, I don't have to take the blame. I can blame it on you. So I think that for the most part, we nail this stuff, you know, and, you know, also, if I don't, you know, we need to do this sessions and the work we do in a part doesn't allow us to be micromanaged by any entity, including myself. And I think that's what you bring to the table with your no nonsense approach to this. But I think you've been fair and trying to get our best messages out there, get our best trainers in there. And like I said, you know, we just do the best we can. We're not perfect, but I think we're doing pretty good. Between the two tribal leader lounge and you know, on our show floor, the new kind of energy we're putting towards that floor. And I think the energy and then bouncing back and forth between the two lounges, we carry people back and forth and keep them exposed. You know, really, really excited and energetic regarding what our product is. And you know, when it's all done, we want people to enjoy because they spend a lot of their, you know, their time and their effort. And like I said, a lot of those folks only go on a couple trips a year, you know, so they need to have a good experience. And one of the things I talked to some of the graduating folks in the educational sessions and the seminars or the commissioners training, and I made sure they understood that they have to take this message back, and they are the teachers now. And that was my message to them. The other message I had to them is they're some of the best teachers in their own classroom learning, you know. So what we put together in this show and these sessions and this training, we put together an amazing exchange of leadership. And that's why I can safely say that we are the experts in this industry. And I'm very, very proud of that. And it's because we these types of trainings, because of this type of interaction. And you know, the show floor is no different. So I'm looking forward to our new kind of philosophy of working the show and our trainings and interacting. And again, our Indian folks tend to have fun, but they get their work done first, and I'm proud of that too.
You know, I remember when I first started working with IGA, you know, one of the things that used to drive me crazy about is that we used to have the sessions on at the same time as the trade show floor used to be open. And it was so hard to find people. Where'd you see them? Oh, I saw them upstairs by the elevator. You'd run upstairs to go find someone and you couldn't find them. You'd walk down that long hallway. You couldn't find them. Then walk around the trade show and you still couldn't find them. And, you know, one of the things that we did was we broke that up so that, you know, education sessions are happening in education sessions. And so, you know, everybody you want to find is right there and it's a lot easier. And when the trade show's open, everybody's on the trade show floor. And I think that's one of the things that makes it real unique. And I'd like to point out is that we're not so big that you're overwhelmed. You know, one of the things that I love about the mid-year show is because it's so small, but it's all tribal leaders. It's all people of note. And I think even more now with these changes in the bylaws, it becomes even more powerful than just a little one-off regional type of thing. It's actually where more tribal leaders are going to be, more decision makers are going to be there for business. And that's kind of what I've wanted, because from a content point of view, I have access to all these great speakers and all these incredible tribal leaders. And I think that gives us more gravitas to our message and our education and stuff like that too. And one of the other things that, you know, our process and kind of what we did a little different this last year was that we did an open call for sessions. And, you know, and I think we had about 115 submissions by the end, and which is a lot of content. And so, you know, when you have 10 associate members all sending the same idea for the same session, you know, that becomes a little tricky, but we try to be as diplomatic and honest about the processes as we can be. But it was great. And, you know, the other thing that we did that was unique was that we did sales presentations over on the Tribal Leaders Lounge, which is something we'd never really done before, which is, well, we kind of did it a little bit in Anaheim, but this time we did it full, where people can actually bring their presentations, bring their product and talk about what they're doing and not have to disguise it in the education conversation. And what was really great and made me feel good was the fact that there was people there. You know, I think in Anaheim, it was first time and people had a hard time finding and understanding. This time it was completely different. I think we always had solid crowds for all the presentations, and everyone I talked to, like Tammy Tiger from the UNLV, did her presentation, and they were really happy. The guys from Giles Systems were really happy to do the presentation, and you have an opportunity to do your videos, your sales presentations, your PowerPoints, pure sales. No one's stopping you, and it had good crowds. So I want to do more of that. I think that creates a great feeling on the floor, and from the faces of the vendors and the suppliers who did the presentations, they were really happy. And so I thought that was really cool. Right. So we have 5 more minutes. Do we have any questions from y'all out there? Sorry, I'm from Southern California. I don't see any questions. So you guys, we have Mr. Bean. Yes. Vice
Hey,
Chair.
you know what? Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to share, I was looking I got a pedometer on my phone, and I think I logged over 20 miles from Monday to Thursday. And, I don't know where in planning if we can do some type of award for the most steps, for folks at the end of the show. I mean, you do a great drawing at the last day, and that keeps folks there, but promote a little bit of wellness if it's possible. Perhaps hand out some little pedometers. I don't know what the cost on that would be, but who would get the most steps? And I like I said, I logged, I want to say it was over 40,000 steps or something like that. At least averaging 10,000 steps a day. So it was quite and then we can encourage folks to prepare, for the Indian Gaming Trade Show. And it's just it'd be a fun wellness promotion if it's possible. But if not, we can, kind of mention, an award for the most steps, at the last day of the trade show.
Brian put me in that Hilton over there next to the conference, and they didn't have breakfast or room service. So I actually did really well. And by the way, in Las Vegas, I had over 60 miles at that conference. Walking back that long haul, remember that thing? So I had 60 miles over 5 days and stuff. So highly recommend that hotel if you don't want to eat and you don't want to talk to anybody. Yeah.
Hey,
so
Victor, we came right over here to Vegas to the Res 2023, and we're still walking. But you know what, Vice Chairman Bean, when you're 300 pounds, it's workout just standing. My legs are sore from standing. So you got good workout, good energy.
Yeah, well, that's one of the benefits. Until, as you remember, in Anaheim, I had knee surgery, so I had to ride around in that little cart, and that was not fun. So it was nice, at least to show that my knees are much better, and I was able to walk in. And David, I think I had a little under 20 miles in San Diego too. So all of them unwilling. So you know what? We are almost over. Let's wrap this up. Again, it was a great show. We're all really ecstatic by, we still have that afterglow, except for Chairman, who's still on the road on week 3, but he'll be going home real soon. I think that's wonderful. I don't know how you do it, Ernie. I really don't know how you do it. So again, we will be, we're thinking about our mid-year already. Obviously, there's some shows in between us and them, so we want everybody to be safe. And we will be, I don't know when we'll be opening submissions for the education sessions, but I'd like to have them done a lot earlier this year than maybe even before G2E, just to give us more time to get it done. And pushing up against that clock is really, and by the way, my emails got hacked in the very beginning of that with that rack space hack and stuff like that. I was part of that. So I was down for 2 weeks also. So, anything to make it a lot easier and give us a little more runway before our next show in Anaheim and stuff. So, Brian, Ed, any last words?
No, everything was good. One thing we want to mention too is IGB Live in New York. That'll be coming up in December too. So that's something for folks to put on their calendar. But other than that, great show. It's always an honor to work on behalf of Chairman Stevens. It's an honor to work with him and your entire team. But yeah, really looking forward to mid-year and next year.
That's very good. Thank you. And Chairman and Vice Chairman Bean, anything to say for our wonderful people who stuck around to listen to us?
I'll yield the balance of my time to Vice Chairman Bean because he walks a lot more miles than I do.
I just want to raise my hands here and thank each and every one of you, and thank those listening in for your participation, helping make this year's trade show and a success. And thank each of you for your hard work and helping grow the industry. So thank you and have an amazing week.
And so, you know what? My name is Victor Rocha. My co-host is Executive Director Jason Giles, and we'll be back next week. We'll probably be talking about AI because it's so amazing and what that's going to bring to the industry. And we'll talk to some friends and stuff like that. So we're back and we'll see you next week. Thank you so much.
Excellent.
See you later. Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Bye all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.